Hey, this is Rock from Whiskey D, inviting all of you to go to our Whiskey D YouTube channel, subscribe, and hit the bell. We've been all over Texas, and we take our video cameras with us, along with Emmy Award-winning Sergio Garcia Films, and he films everything, and we share it all with you. So it's like if y'all are hanging out with us on the road. From El Paso to San Elizario to Arlington, Texas, to Hoka, Bandera, Corpus Christi, Houston, Somerville, Texas, Alice, Texas, and our beloved Rio Grande Valley. We've been everywhere, and we're taking you with us. All you gotta do is go to our Whiskey D YouTube channel and click the subscribe button and hit the little bell. So when we upload something, you get notified immediately, and we upload a lot. The Whiskey D YouTube channel with Whiskey D. WhiskeyDBand.com.
Cool. So once you did the Contigo song, which was like on a compilation album,
right? It wasn't even a regular CD.
It was Branding Irons or something like that.
That's the only song to hit.
Yeah. And so once you did that, then the record labels came up and they started.
I had two labels looking for me, and I got them in a
Was it Sony and Capitol?
Yeah, and I got them in a bidding war.
That's the way to do it, man.
Yeah.
So when Capitol, since Capitol won the bidding, how did the song Desvelado come around, man? I mean, how did that pop up, man? Because that song was like, you just flew out of the damn chute, man, when you recorded that song.
And we didn't think it'd be a hit. Nobody thought it'd be a hit.
I saw it on social media. Somebody said that it was Desvelado in Seattle or something like that. Is there any truth to that?
That's true. That's how it was.
Because it was Sleepless in Seattle was a movie
Avena
with...
composed that song.
Who's that?
Jorge Avena.
Oh,
I've never met him. Uh-huh. He's from Arizona. And the song was poorly written. And with a lot of mistakes, grammatical mistakes.
Yeah.
And my producer at the time said, I'm going to rework it because I know the Spanish is wrong. And I'm like, dude, if I think the Spanish is wrong and I'm a pocho, how bad could it be? He goes, don't worry about it. How do you want it? Well, Desvelado or something, but not Seattle. I don't want to have to do that.
Yeah, because Sleepless in Seattle was a movie with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, I think.
Right.
And it was real popular in the 90s. And he had wrote that song for that movie or what?
I don't know. I never asked him.
You never asked him?
But it's weird because, and a lot of people feel it was written for Selena.
Yeah.
And whatnot.
And the video kind of like made it feel that way as well, too.
I'll just say this. I'm a believer in divine intervention. And we grew up together in the same circuit, and I really liked her.
She was super, man. One of the greatest
awesome
personalities you could ever meet.
And later AB told me, hey dog, my sister was in love with you. And I said, well, she was with Chris Perez at the time, and he was pretty jealous about her talking to anybody.
Yeah.
But actually I signed my contract at her funeral, after her funeral in Corpus.
Yeah, man. Oh, shocking,
my career literally began in that moment.
I remember going to the funeral, and we stopped at a mall, and the bus that was there was your dad's.
Yeah.
He was there with this group that were going to the funeral. And we all took off from there because I was working with KIWW, and I took off in the Suburban up there. And I said, let's all meet at this at that mall.
I was there, man.
And it was one of the hardest things ever, man. But it was crazy, and just the overflow of people that loved her, man. And her.
She was wonderful.
Yeah.
She was beautiful, man. Like you'd see her, like I just melt like putty.
And she still has so many fans.
And honestly, like everybody, was always, the butt, man. She was so pretty. Like you just look at her face and go.
But I fell in love with her personality.
Oh, yeah. In addition to that too.
I don't care what she looked like.
Yeah,
her personality was something that
she was special.
It made you fall in love with her.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I'm in a lot of YouTube videos with her, right? Because of the Puro Tejano TV series. I get, when people find out it's me, I get messages from all over the world, dude.
Wow, that's great.
Wanting me to, asking me about stories.
She's an artist. She's an artist that's never gonna go away, dude. She's a mainstay still.
Yeah.
And that's
our Marilyn Monroe, bro.
Yeah, we can only hope to be that type of artist that people go, man, I love these songs. They last forever.
Where do you think where do you think she'd be right now if she was still?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to tell, man. You know, I don't think anybody knows. I definitely think she still had a lot of growth in her career. You know,
well, she was barely going into the R&B field.
She was barely going to the R&B, and she was barely going into Mexico. You know, she still had not. She had cracked Monterrey really good, but she still hadn't cracked the South. And she was on her way.
She would have.
Oh, no doubt, dude. No doubt. She would have cracked the South. Yeah, for sure.
Wow. Did you ever get to perform with her on like?
I didn't. No, because like I tell you, my dad did, and she always greeted me with a very big smile and happy. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And it's crazy because she started at a young age, and you were también kind of young. How old were you when
that
almost
about the same age?
Desvelado came out. How old were you? Probably around 18, 19, 20?
No, dude, I was 23.
23 already?
Yeah. 23.
And that song just like, man, it changed your life forever, bro.
Yeah, it's I always say that there's 4 types of songs. Las canciones que no sirven, las que son más o menos, you know, you hear a song and go, oh, okay, you know, it's organized, it has its message or whatever, but it doesn't really, you know, los éxitos, which are the ones that last, you know, on the radio for 3 months and people really like them and you can play them in your concert and people really like them. Y las eternas, right? The ones that will never die. And I'm been blessed and fortunate to have recorded that song that will never die. Because my way of looking at it is as long as that song never dies, I'm never going to die. Because as long as that song's going to be out there playing, they're going to think of me. Even if it's for that 3 minutes, but they're going to think of me.
Where do you think the music industry's going? I mean, in this decade, you know, we've seen how it's evolved into, I mean, what's next, bro?
I don't know, man.
I was talking to Mando Lichtenberger, and, you know, because now it's to the point where all the artists have to be on the road to make money.
Yes, because they can't pirate that.
Yeah.
They can't pirate a live performance.
And so there's a saturation of, because back with not like the Tejano industry, you guys were on tour all year long. It wasn't like Def Leppard and Guns N' Roses that would tour for 2 years and then take 2 years off for an album.
Year round, but we also visited the same markets. And that was a big thing for me in Mexico.
It was regional.
It was too regional. And I would say, well, I like Laredo, but I'm back in Laredo again and it's 3 months later. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to come once or twice a year, maybe. So I started going to Mexico against my dad's advice, against Jay Perez's advice. One day he told me, why are you going over there? You don't have to do that. And I said, because I want to extend my horizons. And it was the best decision I've ever made in my career. Growth. I have a gig coming up in Campeche. You know how far Campeche is?
How far?
I mean, you can't even drive there from Mexico City. You got to fly. Damn. It's in the Yucatan Peninsula. Oh, okay. You know, so there's a big, broad area that I perform in. And that allows me to not have to visit the same markets over and over and over and burn out
stagnation.
Yeah. And that's unfortunately, that's what, you know, happens to a lot of Tejanos. And I didn't want to do that. So I was going over there playing for less money than I was making here. But I had a goal and I had a plan. And my plan was to make a fan base, create a fan base of getting people involved in listening to my music. And it's funny because people over here, the Tejano get jealous, dude. The Tejano's always jealous. I was like, no, hombre, he's already in Mexico and he's this and that. And, you know, they were like that with Emilio when he recorded Country.
I mean, everybody's always going to.
So there's a lot of jealousy. But you know what? It was the best decision I made because I only do that. I don't do anything else. I live off of that. I tour. That's how I make my money.